And we are recording, and I'm gonna follow your lead and get a sip of water because I'm parched.
Being recorded by the host. Okay, I just hit
Oh
got it,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think. All right.
But I got all my water, my throat's dry. But Miss
Yeah.
Dianne Andrews, we talked on the phone like a week before Thanksgiving, and like an idiot, I have kept delaying it because of my own scheduling problems. But for everybody
Part of
listening,
the one was mine. Don't take all
okay,
the idiot.
all right,
I'll take part.
okay, we'll be IDIOT. We'll split it in half.
Okay.
Dr. McCullough put us in touch, and you had Dr. McCullough on your show. But before we get into all that, for all the people listening, please introduce yourself. Tell them a little about yourself as well as your show.
Okay. My name is Dianne Andrews. I host a show, Dianne Andrews in Black and White. I am a mathematics and chemistry major, graduated college at 19. That's my undergrad. I have an MBA and I have an honorary PhD. And it's honorary because of all the things I've done, I guess, because I usually do 4 or 5 things at one time. I graduated college and I went on to IBM at 19 years old, and I worked on the space shuttle. I was a computer programmer on assembly language programmer on 4-pi machines on the space shuttle. So I can read a dump for you, okay? If you need, it's all the high level now come down to bits and bytes, which is the machine language. The first compiler after machine is the assembler. So we were almost at machine language when you write assembler code, but there were 4-pi computers on board space shuttle. Then I went on to IBM and went over to the marketing division, became a systems engineer manager, marketing manager, the only Black marketing manager in the state of New Jersey when I was there, and on to Connecticut as a regional director. And then my mother got sick and I came home to Louisiana and worked here about a year and said, hey, I want to start my own business. So I got into healthcare, and it was geriatric healthcare. And I owned a home health agency, and I think I'm the only woman to own multi-level sleep labs in the state of New Jersey. I also had sleep disorder labs. So, and I'm doing leadership boards. I've written 6 books, 3 in the last 3 years because I got out of healthcare about 3 years ago. So I've written 3 books. The last one being on COVID-19 after doing 20 shows in 2020 in studio. The first one was March of 2020. I don't know how cities didn't know what was going on because we had Mardi Gras here in New Orleans. I was doing a show in March of 2020. I knew that our president at the time had closed the borders on January 30th. And after WHO said that the virus had become zoonotic, which means it had jumped from an animal to a human. And most of viruses have an intermediary, like MERS over the Middle East respiratory system, which is cousin to SARS. They had a camel. And another one is a civet. That's another animal. Looks like a big cat. And what that means is, okay, the bat or whatever animal, like Zika is a mosquito. I've done all the viruses with our state epidemiologist here in Louisiana. But let's say a mosquito with Zika. Zika was from Africa in the Zika forest. That mosquito bit something, maybe a camel or something over there, a monkey or something, because people do eat monkeys over there. They have nothing else to eat. And they get them at the markets as they eat bats in Africa and in China. And it will bite that, and you eat that animal, and that's a lot of times how zoonotic occurrences happen because it's gone in intermediary. This is strange because it went straight from, they're saying, from a bat to a human being. So that's why there's a lot of talk. And even in March, Tommy, when I did my first show on it, I said, this is the Wuhan China virus. If nothing else, it was, the Wuhan Institute of Technology, which is a level B4. There are only a few in the world. And of course, they said it happened in this bat market near the Wuhan Institute of Virology. But the kind of bat it was, I think, was a horseshoe bat, which lives about 200 miles away and from the Wuhan. Wuhan is a city in China, and it's in a province. It may be, now I know it's city, province, and country, right? China itself has 1.4 billion people. It is a city in Hubei province, which is a state like Louisiana. And of course, it's in China. What China did, Tommy, was they shut down their borders intra-China. You couldn't go from Hubei to the next province, okay? Yeah. But they are to fly all over the world. People were flying in and out of China. in America, thank goodness to our former president, he shut down the borders. When we found out the WHO, the World Health Organization, announced on January 14th that it was zoonotic. By January 31st, which is in my book, COVID ID 2019, and you can see COVID in there.
Yeah.
The word COVID. I do all my graphics and come up with the titles and everything. This is my 5th book. I'm writing my 6th now. I'm writing a 2nd on this, and I'm writing a book on why Blacks can't swim, part of the Civil era. Yeah, I do all over the place. That's what Dr. McCullough said about me. Wow, Dianne, you're so broad. Well, I dabble in a lot of things, little things that try to find truth. That's what I do. And there's a lot of untruths out here right now about what happened with this virus and what they're giving us. I am not an anti-vaxxer, and I say in my book, this is no hoax. This virus is for real.
Mhm.
Whether zoonotic happened, whatever happened, this virus exists, and it has killed purportedly 756,000 people in America. But as we know, 85 to 90% of those people were over 70 and had serious comorbidities, obesity being the #1 comorbidity, and their diabetes being, one of the high comorbidities also for death.
It's, very rarely, very rarely do I have a guest where I have to kind of pull teeth to get them to talk. They're like a very shy person. 95% of them, it's a very transactional back and forth. And then on the other end of rare, no. And then on the other end of rarities are my favorite types. And it's where I don't talk. I just kind of sit there and listen. And that's what I'm getting from you. So I love it. Please keep going about the China province and shutting everything. Keep going. You're going on a tangent. I love it. I'm going to sit back and listen. Just keep talking.
Because I was on a radio show once, and the guy had to tell me to shut up.
No, it's perfect. Keep going.
That's why I think Dr. McCullough and I really hit it off as friends, because we were both exchanging so much data, and both are very, of course, I'm not a scientist. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not nearly credentials as him to that level, but what transpired, the processes and procedures that were put in place. I finished this COVID-19 book, Cover Up ID 2019, which is on BookBaby and Amazon.
Okay, I'll put that in the description.
Okay, thank you. I finished it a year ago, and I talk about Como. In August of last year, there were 6 states where 85% of the deaths were, and most of those were nursing homes. Of course, it's New York, it's Michigan with Whitmer over there, it's New Jersey with Murphy, who just won. My God, I don't know how. I wish the other guy had won, and who knows? He probably did win, but and Pennsylvania, and there was Massachusetts. So 6 states had, and I think Minnesota was in that number too. 85% of all the deaths were in 6 states. Now, Louisiana, we do have a Democratic president here, but we really locked down, the lockdown that Fauci had put us in, and Donald Trump had, I know a lot of people don't agree with what he did, but he had no choice. Fauci was America's doctor, and to a lot of people, he still is America's doctor. And everything he said, the mask won't work, wear a mask, don't wear a mask. I did one show on Dianne Andrews and Black and White, the name of my show, which we have YouTube, Rumble, and all social medias. But I did one show, I had 6 masks on. At one time he was saying 2 is better, then 3 is better. I should have brought them on here. I should have put 6 masks on. I had a visor over my face. But we all know it was something interesting that came on today. Omicron, people are going crazy over it. South African doctor who discovered Omicron said that it was mild. No one in the world has been proven to die from Omicron. Why did that new governor, whatever her name is, that female lady, she seems worse than Cuomo, why did she call a state of emergency Saturday before first time we heard of the virus? 95% of people in the hospital today are from the Delta. The biggest mistake to me, as far as the virus is concerned, plus all the other mistakes that this current president has made, is from shutting down Operation Warp Speed. I call this the greatest mobilization of public-private collaboration in American history, and none more times. Within 5-6 weeks, we had Ventec working with Ford and GM to create ventilators. President Trump was giving ventilators, some to Africa, I think, and some to Brazil. No one in America died from lack of a ventilator because we got started to making them, as we know, during part of this problem last year. Even China threatened if we kept on probing to cut down some of our antibiotics. I'm almost afraid to take one. They're made in China. What kind of people are stupid enough to let your enemy, who is not your friend, he is not your neighbor, and he is an enemy, supply something that can save your life, or your enemy may kill you with it? It doesn't make any sense what America has done to this great country. That's why I started my show, Tommy, 6 years ago. I started under Obama Biden. When they said, when they were calling Obama, calling this a JB team, I said, my show ISIS is no JB team. I did 9 shows on the Middle East. And again, when you own the media, they put out what propaganda that they want, right? And that's what happened under Obama Biden. And Biden said, his chief of staff, his handlers said, Ron Klein, who was the chief of staff under Obama too for Biden, he said 2 years ago, and so did General Bob Gates, which is in my book, that Joe Biden never made a right decision on international policies. That is in my book. It's a small book, but I got a lot in here. I should have used bigger print, it would have looked bigger. But and I could say today he's still making failed policies, and that's pretty obvious. And it's not by stupidity, it is by choice.
Yeah.
This man is paid off, Hunter Biden. I mean, how many scandals do you need? I mean, a diamond given to him by a Russian oligarch, 10% ownership in a multi-billion-dollar company in China. All the things we give Nord Stream 2 privilege. Trump stopped Nord Stream 2. It was 90% finished when Donald Trump started his presidency.
Well,
and
what
he
was it?
Nord Stream 2. Okay, America and has probably, and Africa have more than it's called Nord Stream 2. It is a pipeline. Germany has no oil. Europe has no natural resources. America is a blessed and the greatest country in this world. And I've said that all my I was an executive with IBM. I traveled all over the world, okay? I have been to 6 continents. There is nothing. People are not dying to cross this border from 75 countries right now. It's just not people from, a couple of countries. It's not Central and Mexico. Mexico's doing pretty well, especially what Bill Clinton had given them, the treaty or whatever, the act, where the North American, where they got all our manufacturing, they took 5 million jobs. Trump stopped that when he was in office, where the what did they call it back then? I can't remember.
NAFTA?
NAFTA, yeah. North American something.
Free Trade Association.
Yes, where Canada and Mexico were making all the American cars. People don't even know that. Very little American cars are made in America. They were made in Mexico and China. And that was from NAFTA that Donald Trump stopped. And why do you give away 5? When he did it, I was young, right? And I said, that doesn't even make sense to me to give our jobs away, because that's going to give jobs away. And if you look at it, that's again what happened with Obama Biden. We want to get rid of coal. Last year, China built 50 coal plants. So did India. We have natural gas. I live in Louisiana, Baton Rouge. Natural gas is we're the #1 state for natural gas in this country. As I said, America is a blessed, beautiful country. To have all the natural, we have everything but diamonds here. We have oil. And under Donald Trump, we were #1. And people who are listening to you and listening to me right now, there is a reason that your gas is $4, $5, and $6. It is because last 2 years of Donald Trump's administration, we were #1 in oil export. We weren't bringing oil in here. We were not at the mercy of OPEC, another country, place that we were not nuclear power. We weren't letting money out of airplanes late at night, cash that Obama Biden did, to the people in the Middle East. Donald Trump was doing the Abraham Accords. He was trying to bring them together, and he should have won, an award for that. That was a peace deal that he did between Israel and the Middle Eastern Arab countries. And he said he had Saudi Arabia and others ready to come. Donald Trump, whether you believe in fraud or don't believe in fraud in the election, there are some irregularities and people need to know that. Hey, they're talking about Jim Crow laws. Okay, let's talk about them. Jim Crow laws were started by Democrats. Abraham Lincoln, vice president in his last term, was what? He was a Democrat. It was Andrew Johnson. People look at everything I say, look it up. A lot of people don't know this.
I didn't know.
And he was trying to pull the country together. So after he was killed, Andrew Johnson, who was a slave owner from Tennessee, a Democrat, which is, guess what? Where the Klan started, Pulaski, Tennessee. I've done 8 Klan shows. See, I do shows on everything. That's why Dr. You're so broad.
I love it.
Yeah, I learned a lot about what's really going on in the world, and especially here in this country. So Pulaski, Tennessee is where the Confederate Democratic soldiers started the Klan. Confederate soldiers started. That is where Andrew Johnson was from. He was a slave owner from Tennessee and a Democrat. So do we wonder why Reconstruction failed after this president died? There was a Democrat running it. I tell people that, if you look back on history, Ulysses Grant was one of the best presidents for Black people, and we didn't know it. 1875, he signed the first Civil Rights Act. And his father-in-law was a slave owner. When he married his wife, he gave him slaves. He set them free. So we want to castrate Thomas Jefferson for having slaves, George Washington, whatever, everybody. It was the time. And I will tell Black people who are listening, we are not the first country to have slavery. We are not the last. We don't have slavery today, but all around the world, what is sex trafficking? What are those poor brown walking over this border, being shot up with drugs, being raped? What is happening to them? It's modern day slavery. And I've done shows on sex trafficking. Now drug people get into the sexual trafficking, because what if I sell you cocaine or fentanyl, which is 1,000 times stronger than opium, I can reuse you 21 times a day is the average that a woman is used in sex trafficking. But once I sell cocaine, it's only one hit and I got to go find some more. So they're getting into both. Most of the drug dealers are now also into sex trafficking. So, I mean, I can go on and on. I'll probably talk 2 hours with you, Tommy.
I told you, well, you're like me. People ask me what my podcast is. It's everything. I mean, today we're talking about COVID, and 2 days ago, I had on the director of the CIA's psychic program that they ran during the Cold War to see if psychics could find nuclear. Oh yeah, Dr. Dale Graff, and so I have on people tomorrow. I'm having on Howard Bloom, and we're talking about the Muhammad Code, the history of Islam, and its kind of murderous reign.
Your thirst for knowledge.
I have on I have on guys that run laser cleaning companies where they use lasers to clean industrial printers. I have on construction workers. I have on. So that's how I am. And I love to grab everything and pull it all together, because when you do that, you start to learn about each other, because you see the same themes recurring again and again. So that's what you are. So I love listening to this. So please keep talking. Keep talking. I'm you. Yeah, you're me.
In trying to make it in this business, I don't know if it's good or bad, because you almost need a niche that you concentrate on. And I guess
I hate that.
COVID is trying to become my niche, because I've written books. I'm writing the second one, and I did, as I said, 20 shows last year. In fact, I should have brought my crown down and put it on. My first show on COVID, I had a crown on, because I wanted people to realize that there's spikes on the end of the coronavirus. Back in March, people were so afraid to drink Corona beer, and it is the cousin to the cold. The SARS, a cold virus, is a SARS virus also, right? And we had SARS-CoV-1 in 2003 or 4 that went away on its own after 2 years, after natural immunity that does. I'm not an expert on it, but I listened to Dr. Peter McCullough. I listened to Dr. Malone, who I want to try to get on my show. And I listen to people who are experts. They say natural immunity. I listen to Dr. Marty McCary, I think his name is, from Johns Hopkins. He's on a lot of the conservative media a lot. I listen to Dr. Siegel, who's on Fox a lot. And you listen to these people, they know what they're saying. Rachel Walensky is a very big disappointment to me from the CDC, because, the administration seems like at first she may have been trying to do a lot of the right things. I think at first they said the 5 to 11-year-old didn't need a Pfizer vaccine, maybe, and Pfizer is the only one who got why are they the only ones who got the right to do the 5 to 11? I can tell you why. 5 billionaires have been made there in the last 8 months. Why did Pfizer get the right to go to the G7? Why was there to the G7 with, that's my little dirty poodle walking around.
Wait, Pfizer?
Yeah.
You have an old poodle?
Yeah, he is right here sitting next to me. Come on, Fuji. I thought you were asleep on the patio. I should have shut the door.
I had a toy poodle that had to put down last year. He was 17 and a half. But it's Oscar. Oscar.
Yeah, Fuji, but he hates the bath now. He got dropped. I was out of town. In fact, I did CPAC, and my media was chosen for CPAC, so I have shows out there on YouTube from CPAC. Come, you hear him whining, right?
Yeah, bring him up. No, bring him up.
He's dirty. He's embarrassing. He knows I hate this, but it takes 2 hours to bathe him now, and he still growls because they dropped him when I was gone at a boarding. Come on, sweetie. Come on, I'm gonna pick you up, and he'll see how dirty you are.
Hey,
but
buddy.
you're embarrassed. Yeah,
he's not dirty. No.
Oh, he's filthy. I don't like this. Come on, come on. When I go down, I'm on TV working. I'm working, Fuji. I'm working. Okay, they're so smart. They're very smart.
That's why I love them. That's why
he goes to the station with me a lot. And when that camera comes on, he sits right there and says nothing for the whole time of the show.
He knows you're making that. He knows you're making that dog treat money.
Yeah, that's right. That's what Tommy, that's what I don't make any money doing it yet, but working and get you those milk bones you love.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
So Pfizer was at G7?
Their CEO was. That's right. I saw him there. Biden got lost. He was walking around and couldn't, and other Pfizer CEO there. Why was he there?
Yeah.
We talk about, first it was get so many people vaccinated. I think about 75% of America has at least had one shot. Now, I took the J&J. Again, I am not an anti-vaxxer, but I was an anti-MRSA from when I wrote this book, and I looked up MRSA because they were ready during that election. They just didn't want to give Trump a win.
Mm-hmm.
And, a week after the election, hey, here comes Pfizer and Moderna, right? For the EUA, right? And I also think, I know Pfizer has their FDA permanent now. I don't think they have it for the 5 to 11-year-old children, but they do have it for the grown vaccine. It goes to emergency use authorization through CDC, and then they get final authorization from FDA. That's why it's called an experimental until they get the final from the FDA.
Well, didn't I think Dr. Malone said this, but he said the FDA approved vaccine is not actually in use in the United States. It was FDA approved, but we still don't have it.
That's AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca approved it's made in Baltimore with Oxford University. Under Donald Trump, 5 vaccines were paid for. Don't people think Biden's paying for your vaccine? That is still from Donald Trump. What Donald Trump did, and I explain all this in Cover Up ID 2019, what he did was he paid people for so much of the vaccine before it was developed.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we ended up getting a vaccine in about 6 months.
Oh yeah, no, warp speed is brilliant.
And it's more than the vaccines. Again, I was talking about Ventec and the Ford companies and all those companies who made ventilators so quickly. Now, what they've learned when they, time you got in, if you had a low pulse ox, they were putting you on a ventilator. They've learned that's not the best thing to do. A lot of young people died that really didn't need a ventilator, but they didn't know what was really going on. And also, I was in healthcare, as I said, geriatric home health agencies with, nurse practitioners, nurses, speech therapists, you name them, working. We were like a hospital sent to the home. So I had PT, physical therapists. We had social workers trying to help people get money. Most of my patients were poor, and most of them were Black. And as we know, COVID has killed more men and people of color. Men of color have died from COVID than other diseases. And I talk about that in the book. And I talked about in October, outside you cannot get it because of the vitamin D. The vitamin D in the sun keep, and the air and the respiratory system outside, is the greatest respiratory system ever. I also talk about vitamin D in here and zinc as preventatives, nutrition, micronutrition products. And that's why I think Dr. McCullough was so impressed when he read the book. He said, wow, you hit everything. I talked about some of his protocols in the book. And again, October of last year, I talked about what Trump took. The monoclonal antibodies also saved Dr. Ben Carson. That was before the vaccines were out when they had COVID. And what Trump took was an aspirin as a blood thinner. He took a steroid. He took monoclonal antibodies. They gave him remdesivir right before, and I talked about this in the book, and we talked about it on Dr. McCullough's show on my Rumble, because you can't go on YouTube, you know. And remdesivir was developed under Fauci or Biden-Obama by Gilead Science, I think it is a company that owns it. And they put a lot of money into it, and Fauci and the partners were pushing it for Ebola. It turned out to be a failed Ebola drug. And okay, here it comes back around. They're trying to make it a drug for COVID. And the WHO, which is in my book, said that they didn't see that it was worth the cost because it's expensive. It's not like a monoclonal. Not 85 to 90% that take monoclonal at the right time live. That is what saved our president. Again, he took an aspirin, he took the monoclonal. He had taken a blood thinner, which is aspirin, and he took, and then he took the steroid. But the monoclonal antibodies have been known to sit. Dr. Ben Carson said he's never been as sick as in his life. He is, as we know,
a brain surgeon.
Yeah, for pediatric brain surgery.
Yeah.
He is the first disjoin baby at the head successfully, and they live and are a normal part of society. He is a brilliant, brilliant man. I have a lot of respect for Dr. Ben Carson.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he is a wonderful man. So have you had
what?
I want to try Carson on. I said, I'm going to try to get Dr. Carson. I don't do a lot of Zoom. I do, but I'm going to have to. I know Dr. Malone and people like that.
Yeah.
I would like to get Robert Kennedy on too. If I had known he was here yesterday, I would have gone down to the legislature.
I've tried to get him on. I got close. It's I would love to get on Ben Carson. And just so I don't forget, can you send me a text for Robert Malone and I will try to put you in touch with him? I don't know how successful. Yeah. I've given you his contact before. I don't know how, of all people I've had on, he's probably the hardest to pin down, you know.
I'm sure. Yeah. But I think, had you had Peter on when you pinned him down? Had you already had Peter on?
Yes.
Okay, and you used that, right? I'm sure he knows.
So that will probably help you. Yeah.
So that helps.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to use Peter's name and say, hey, Peter said that, Peter did a show with me. In fact, he flew in. We did 2 shows. Yeah. So
Dr. Malone plays hard to get. But he's brilliant. You have him on. He's absolutely brilliant. And like you said about putting on Rumble instead of YouTube. Yeah, no, that's the I think I told you the actual clip. You know, I had several suspensions, but the kill shot, the clip that got me permanently banned from YouTube, was a 30-second clip of Dr. McCullough telling people vitamins don't cure COVID, but you can greatly protect yourself by taking quercetin, turmeric, vitamin D, and zinc. He said, go get them at Walmart, about $7 a month.
And don't forget, ivermectin. We talked. You're right and you were gone. He told me, "Don't put me on YouTube. You'll never be able to go back on there."
Oh yeah, no, he's
Rumble.
Yeah. But I knew that was going to happen, and I uploaded it anyway because I was like, I don't care. This is the hill to die on. So, but
you're a podcast anyway, so and that's what I want to do. I told you I wanted to talk to you about that. We'll talk about later. But just taking my show straight to podcast. I've never been a Black woman conservative in Louisiana or anywhere. You're an endangered species, okay? Candace Owens wrote a book about it, but Candace Owens was a Democrat 5 years ago. So I don't know how she really knows how, for being a long time, how it is to be a Black woman conservative all your life, because she was a Democrat before. But good, she's got religion now, so that's a great thing. I was state president of Blexit here, state director. I don't know if you've ever heard of Blexit.
Mm-hmm.
That's her and another guy. He was a former policeman, I forget his name, but they co-founded Blexit, which is the Black exit out of the Democratic Party. But
I think people's fascination with her is probably the changing of sides. But not to.
But I don't think most people know, Tommy. Anybody I mentioned, I think she was with Charlie Kirk. When you were Charlie Kirk, golden, right? I mean, he pushes so many people, and everyone I've seen him push becomes national. she was in New York, I think, and she went to work for him. And that's how she really got now working over there for Charlie Kirk, which is great. I mean, it just skyrocketed her career, you know, like a rocket.
That's what I'm
Right.
I'm taking the brute force method where it's just me and I just keep pushing and pushing and pushing until it breaks through. But I
That's
don't.
what I've done. In 6 years, it hadn't broken through yet, so I don't know, Tommy.
Well,
But that's what we can do.
yeah.
But I've known it's been so good for me because it's a personal journey of growth
Mhm.
for me to learn what I've learned. And you know, you're young, and I think what did you tell me? You're 31.
31.
What? Yeah, 31. I thought you told me when we talked. And to learn, you're like me. You're just absorbing everything. I've got a background, you know, because I've done things, and I always do 4 or 5 things at the same time. Leadership forums, you know, sleep lab, home health, all at this, and I'm writing all at the same time. I was teasing Dr. McCullough, I'm left and right brain because, as I say, I create everything. I do my styling. I produce the as you do, and so come on, Fuji. I told you, mommy's working. She's just not talking on the phone or on Zoom on the computer. She's
Fu-
working.
Fuji, would you
Okay.
like Fuji? If you would like to join us, you can join us. Like,
Yeah. Come on, Fuji. Let me just see if he wants.
you,
Come on, baby.
you can do whatever you. No, it's most. I would say probably every 10 episodes we have a dog join us. So, hello,
The dirty
Fuji.
name on TV.
Hello, Fuji. Nice to meet you.
I wants to get that good. Okay.
With what do you think about, to kind of pivot? What do you think about it was I think it was about a week ago. It was it's 9th. Yeah, so a week ago tomorrow. So December 2nd, 2021, Thursday, December 2nd. The chief, I think the EU health chief, Ursula von der, came out and said that the EU needs to seriously consider scrapping the Nuremberg Code so that they can administer state mandated vaccinations. And that same Pfizer CEO that was at G7 is Ursula was meeting with him a month earlier, and Pfizer, who is making record breaking profits. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, aside from the fact that it's reprehensible and demonic.
Right. It's not, you know, it almost seems when you look at some of the things Fauci has done. I looked at, there was an article I reposted about 3 months ago about him and the Beagles, and you know, what he did, that experimentation. These people are like Hitler. I mean, they have no care for mankind. They really don't. And I did a show. I'm going to roundabout get back to your question. Okay.
Take your time.
Our commissioner of agriculture, forestry, and medical marijuana, who is a veterinarian. I did a show with him about 3 weeks ago. And the reason I did that show, because I wanted to talk about farmlands. I had read the largest farmland owner in the world is, guess who? You know, Bill Gates. And he just started buying property in 2016, 2017. He owns over 250,000 acres, 70,000 here in Louisiana. So that's when really I wanted to know why would more than a fourth of his acreage be here in Louisiana? And I don't eat beef, but I think people who eat beef should be allowed to eat beef and whatever they want. I don't eat pork either. And I stopped that in my 20s. But I wanted to know, he also owns, has bought more than $50 million worth of impossible foods, right? So, okay, you own the farmland to make where the cows are, but you also own, and every French fry you put in your mouth in America and probably around the world, guess where it comes from? Bill Gates' land. Every French fry at McDonald's. And so when I read that, and then I had, as I was investigating for the show with the commissioner, Dr. Strand, like I said, who was a veterinarian also, he has a white poodle too. And I just remembered, I just thought about what you said, you had to put him down. Oh my God, the poor little poodle.
Oh no, he was 17 and a half. He had a fantastic life.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. No, he had me and my brothers. He had 4 little boys and running around him all the time. No, don't feel bad for Oscar. Oscar lived the best life.
Yeah. Are you going to get another one?
I think I will probably sometime next year. I think I will.
Out there that myself and my ex share together, so we share him half. But I tell you, the poodle is my favorite. They're just
I love them. And I had one. We had Oscar for 17 years, and before that, we had Barney, who was also a toy poodle. We got him when I was 5, and Barney died my freshman year of high school, and then we got Oscar. I remember holding Oscar, watching the news when we were invading Iraq. That's how old Oscar was. And I put him down last year in the middle of the pandemic. That's how old Oscar was.
Well, Oscar had
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now since I found out Oscar was good and everything was okay, let's get back
We're good. We're good. Back to the phone. Farmland.
And as you know, all the mandates that mandatory mandates for private businesses are being struck down in our courts by the state mandates that you have to have a vaccine. And the reason why John Kennedy was here yesterday is Louisiana is putting mandates in the schools. They're trying to, for the 5 to 11-year-old vaccine to be given to children. And Robert Kennedy, I heard a little bit of it because I had one of the state representatives send me the transcript today. And he said, this is the deadliest vaccine ever in history. You know, other vaccines, except the flu, you won't get the disease, right? Polio, you don't get it. Other things, you don't get the disease. But this vaccine, you still get it, but that does diminish, and I do believe that's true. Diminish grown, healthy people. I do believe that.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, it doesn't have to be this whole, it's either I'm completely for it or completely against it. No, the vaccine has a lot of benefits, and most of the older people in my life, I'm happy that they have it so they don't die of it if they get COVID. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, some variants, so you probably are, if you have not, I'm not asking you, I don't know if you want to expound on it or not, but most of the, you know, a lot of the new variants, Delta is one, which 95 to 99% of our people in the hospital today, it's Delta, it's not Omicron. And it's not Alpha, the beginning one, right? So it's Delta. Why, again, I said this in the beginning, but to me, why did Operation Warp Speed not continue? It probably wouldn't have taken but a month or two to make the variant that could stop Delta. To me, that is the question I haven't heard anyone say, even ask. And that makes no sense to stop Operation Warp Speed. These people need to be continuously, as the flu, we make a new vaccine because it mutates every year and the flu's been out years. But we're at the old, which is, you know, the Greek alphabets, Alpha, Delta, you know, they skipped over whatever the G over there in China. Yeah, they skipped over his name. And we're at the Omicron, which is really what C, it's not Omicron. The Greek alphabet is really something else, the name for Omicron. But why did we not continue that? The last person who wasn't fired or let go was General Perner, who I talk about in my book. He was a general in the Army, and he was the head tactician and logistic person for Operation Warp Speed. He is the one that got Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J to all the states. He didn't let him go until about 3 months ago. He was still, he is the reason that everything went smoothly to the states, because Pfizer and Moderna, as we know, are absurd levels of cold they have to be, right? So all kind of special freeze equipment, and I talk about the Fahrenheit in the book, what they have to be. Now, India is making their own mRNA that's supposed to be normal temperature. That was another reason I took J&J. It is a viral vector. The flu is that same technology, which I haven't heard anybody die from. And it was only one shot. I read what I read last year and wrote on mRNA, and I said, no, it's too new for me. I'm not taking it. I don't think it's safe yet. And I was completely right from research and from intuition. But I just did a week ago take the J&J booster. And as I say, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I took the J&J in March, but I had to look all over to find it. You couldn't hardly find it. They pushed Pfizer and Moderna all over the place. So now back to your question. What do I think of it? Just what is happening here. I don't think that it makes sense. And I think Europe will, you know, they don't have the Constitution. We have, thank God for the builders of this country.
I know.
And what they did with our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, with these people are walking all over this administration. Then they call Trump an autocrat. What is Biden? Well, which Biden's not running the country. We know that, right?
Yeah, no, Biden's not. Biden should be in a nursing home with his family around him. I legitimately feel bad for him. I don't think he's all there.
You know what? I got to give no credit to that wife for her just to be in the limelight, to let her husband do this. They're shooting him up with something every day to get him up. And that's why by the end of the day, he starts to wilt like a plant. And it's worse. So how do you let your husband go through that?
I think they got him something good because around back in like March, maybe like April or May, I noticed that maybe this is just my own mind. but I noticed that he seemed to suddenly get a lot sharper. So
Oh
they,
my God, Tommy, are we twins? I
but
told my
didn't at some point it seem like
son he's
it, it,
better.
it was weird. It was like it was like getting your cup of coffee.
Yeah, maybe they're shooting him up with Adderall or cocaine. Somebody
I'm
need to
sure
make
that I'm sure they are. I mean, why wouldn't you? Leader of the free world, you got to give him some good stuff. But it seemed like something flipped around, and I don't know if it's maybe
I about my girlfriend didn't notice. I said, "Oh, he's much better than he was."
I noticed because I listen. I didn't vote for Biden. He's not my guy,
Me
and
neither.
I do think the election was stolen. But at the time, he is the goddamn president, and I'm not gonna 100% hate him. I don't like him. I don't support him.
I wish it was the right thing, but he's not.
But he is the president. So fuck it. Excuse me. I'll
Right.
watch and
You're
I'll
right.
try to see what's going on, right? Because I can't
Well,
criticize other people for saying Trump's not my president and then they turn around and do it. So I have to try to be. I can't be a hypocrite. So I have been watching him, and I noticed in like April or May, I actually felt better because I was like, oh, maybe it was all an act. I don't know, but
no, wasn't an act. They
whatever
paid
it
him.
is, he started getting better. He started getting some good drugs, and I would love to get those drugs. But it's something
You don't need those drugs. I don't even drink coffee. Cocaine would have me jumping off the ceiling.
I would be
I
bouncing
mean,
off the walls. But no, it did seem like he was getting better. But
Tommy,
yeah,
but you still can't take away the first day when he signed away. I did shows in October of 2020 with a lawyer, and he's a CPA and a well-informed Democrat, friend of mine. And we did some shows on the economy with another accountant guy and a wealth management guy. And we talked about what was going to happen. We said he's lying about taking away fracking. The first day he took away a third of our ability to have gas, right? Because he stopped drilling in Amwa, in Texas, and any governmental property, which was 1/3 of all the drilling in America. Again, this is a rich country. It is the best country in the world. People are dying to get here, and physically. And so why would you do that? So people, when he says all this about OPEC, it's all a lie because he started it January 21. No, January 20. I think that afternoon he did that. And I think all of that, you remember, he already had everything prepared to sign these executive orders. And he stopped everything Trump was trying to do. The border. The Supreme Court 2 months ago, and has said it again, is that is illegal to stop the Remain in Mexico plan that Donald Trump had agreement with Mexico, where I just had a guy flying from Cuba. He doesn't speak English, so I had to have a translator there. But if you'd like to have a Cuban who is here on asylum, I can get you that number.
I would 100%.
I had an interpreter here because she was.
Oh,
That's how. A
okay.
friend was a lady I know. She lives here in Baton Rouge, and I had some personal flyer miles, so I flew him in because he was saying people are going to say he was paid. I said I don't have money to pay. I'm paying for this show, but and we talked about he was in the Remain in Mexico 2 years ago, and he got asylum because he was fleeing from people who were trying to kill him. Cuba is now the Cuban Communist Party. They don't even play the socialist game anymore.
Yeah.
And they take everything belongs to the state, you all. So if you have acquired anything, black, white, red, or green, they're going to take it, and it's going to belong to the Obama-Biden administration, because that's what we're still living in today, is the Obama. Obama's one of the first presidents who didn't live in D.C. to remain in D.C. under the Trump administration. That's why John's flying all over telling Iran, don't worry, he's leaving. The world wanted Donald Trump out. And I don't know if he realized how vicious and how much. I heard Biden say something about we need to get drugs down for America. Well, Donald Trump was putting us, I know older people who are on diabetic medicine. I know he was working on it. I thought he had us in some program that the world has. They get medicines cheaper than we do. It's some kind of.
It's because we have something where other corporations can't go and negotiate. If you go into a foreign country, they just say they take like the price of production. They'll give you a fixed profit and go, this is a generic drug. You can't price gouge, except for in America where you can come do that. Trump had that in action. He also had that with insulin. Biden repealed that. No one ever brings that up. Biden repealed that.
Now, but yesterday he was saying we need to get the price of drugs down. He said it yesterday, but you stopped it. I mean, everything, and the Remain in Mexico, as I said, this Cuban Alexander de la Roa, who came over, he was saying the people that are coming into this country hate America. He saw the sex trafficking, the slavery. He saw the drug trafficking. He saw people who are pedophiles. He said a lot of pedophiles are coming across these borders.
Yeah.
And why would you not want to stop this? People, don't be stupid. This is not a humane administration.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with humanity. This is death to these women who are being raped and killed coming across this border. And it's death to America. Look at the people who are in California. Beverly Hills, 10 years ago, Black or brown or white people would be afraid to go into Beverly Hills and start stealing, and like poor parents of one white, beautiful lady, used to be an Ebony model, who was killed at 81 years old by a Black guy robbing in their house, but he didn't steal anything. So I don't know what the deal was with that. Are you familiar with that case?
I'm
Father, Clarence Avant. You may want to look him up. He used to own Sussex Records, and he was CEO of Motown for many years. They lived in a $20 million estate. And,
I'm friends with a guy on this show, Dale Comstock, the youngest ever member of Delta Force. He's retired now. Delta Force, CIA, Jason Bourne kind of guy.
I love Jason Bourne. I love the series.
This guy isn't real. This guy is real. This guy was in the CIA Special Activities Division. That division recruits from SEAL Team 6 and Delta Force. They are the Olympic team. They were formed, I think, under Eisenhower. Ian Fleming, who wrote James Bond, was inspired by the Special Activities Division.
Oh, wow.
Black Ops. This guy's in there. He's retired now. He's almost 60, but he could still beat the shit out of a guy my age. He's just, Superman. He's been hired by department stores and malls out in San Francisco and in New Orleans. He did New Orleans to run security because the police won't respond to shoplifters.
No.
So they have Dale out there just looking tough.
But in California, they passed a law that you can spend
$900 and under
a day. So every day I walk in spending, in a week I steal almost $7,000, and that's one person. Everybody can do that, and you walk out.
It's not per day. It's per visit.
It's per visit.
Yeah, because he would watch guys come in and steal 900. Maybe
go in there 10 times.
Regardless of what it is,
it's stupid. It's stupid.
The fact that it's not prison for stealing anything is we don't need to get caught up in the semantics. The fact that you can steal and not be prosecuted is in itself insane.
Almost $1,000.
Yeah, but all these kind of little things you see, and I'm glad you said it is, and I always hate when people say this about Trump or Biden or Obama or Bush or whoever. These people are not stupid. You may not like them. They might not have your best interests at heart. They are not stupid. They know stupid is robbing a police station at 2 p.m. That's stupid. All right. That's stupid and evil. Smart and evil is shutting down pipelines. So although we are just energy dependent for the first time in 5 decades, we are now dependent on countries that hate us, radical Islamist nations that hate us, getting our antibiotics produced by China, who has definitively stated they want to replace us as the global hegemon. Oh, why are they opening the border? I thought they were all unvaccinated. This is bigger than that. We have to bring in immigrants. What about the immigrants coming over rafts from Cuba? No, send them back. There's clearly an agenda here. It has nothing to do.
Send them back. And why is Omicron shut down? Black people, listen to this. Why did the Haitian immigrants go back? He didn't send the others back. Why did he shut down the first day of Omicron, 8 countries?
South Africa.
Nobody has died from Omicron.
Yeah.
Delta was where India was where Delta came from. He didn't ever shut that down.
You can't tell me that's not racism.
You can't either tell me, and I'm Black.
Yeah. You can't tell me that's now. If he didn't shut anyone down, then I'd just be like, oh, the whole Omicron thing is just bullshit. He only shut down South Africa.
But when he shut down, Donald Trump shut down, which was valid.
China.
People a day. It was 5 million a year coming in. That's in my book. 5 million a year were coming in from China. And he had to put it down because we knew nothing, but we knew the WHO was lying, and we knew Wuhan, China was lying. And he shut it down 2 weeks after it happened. The proclamation that he wrote is even in my book. Donald Trump.
And Biden tweeted when he did that, he said, this is xenophobic and full of hate. Yet he does it for South Africa for a variant that isn't even lethal.
Not one person. That's right.
If Trump shuts it down at the beginning of the pandemic when it's the Alpha variant and there's no vaccine, we don't know anything about it,
Right.
Racist.
Right.
When Biden does it a year and a half later with 4 vaccines and knowing that it's a less lethal, although more virulent strain,
Right.
crickets.
Right.
If you don't vote for
So,
me, you ain't black.
that's right. And Nancy Pelosi also went out to Chinatown hugging
Oh,
everybody.
Chinatown hugging people.
Oh, that's in my book. Those two things in my book.
That it's also. Hey, Dianne, can you tell everyone where to find your books and your shows? I have to run to the restroom real quick. I'll be back in like 30 seconds.
Okay. Okay.
Dianne, take it over. Welcome to the Dianne Andrews Show.
Hi, people out there. It's Dianne Andrews. It's Cover Up ID 2019, which has COVID in the title there. If you see the highlighted area, it's COVID ID 19. I tell people I write motivational books too, that God just sends me signals of what to do. But you can find the book on bookbaby.com, who printed it for me. And it's also on amazon.com and on all the online vendors. Baby, you need your medicine. As soon as mama gets off, she's going to give you a medicine. It's my little puppy. Okay, you're going to get some medicine in a few minutes. You just had it a minute ago. But anyway, that's where you can find my book. And I think you'll find, let me just see what's in the proclamation that Donald Trump wrote to save our country from COVID, because many more people would have died. I also write motivation, and you'll see in here, like, freedom is not free. There's a price for you and for me. When somebody loves this country, as Donald Trump does, there are a lot of things that we all don't agree with Donald Trump on. Yeah, some of the ways that he talked to people. But if I came from corporate America, so there's a different way that you react in corporate America than as a politician. But when you talk about people getting things done, lowest unemployment for Black people ever, lowest employment in America at 3.5% before the China virus entered our world. And for Latin Americans, lowest unemployment ever. Come on, sweetie. For women, lowest unemployment in 50 years. So, and these facts were being hidden by the media. People didn't know that all these things were really going on because it was being overshadowed with people like about Mueller, which turned out to be a lie. Because John Durham nobody's listening anymore. And we have almost a state-run media, it seems now. But John Durham has, I think, arraigned 3 people who are saying that Hillary Clinton was a part of that entire Russian dossier, and she paid for it. So why isn't something happening about this? But now nobody cares. It's old news. People are too tied into losing money, inflation, people coming across the board, and most people don't even know how many people are coming. 1.8 million in the last since he's been in office, the last 10, 11 months. Okay, Tommy.
Thank you so much. It's normally I run to the restroom and I tell people to monologue and they just kind of stare, but I figured I was like, oh, Dianne can do this. Dianne can do this. So we've been going on all sorts.
You're just like me. Also on my TV show, I never use notes with teleprompter, either.
Oh, no, do I? Oh my God. To me, that feels like that's a handicap. If I have to stick to notes or no, man, just let it run, just let it fly. That's what's a natural thing. So where do you think, and to me, this is kind of the big one, is you can't really use the same trick twice, right? I mean, the terrorists pulled off 9/11. They're not dumb enough to put their hand back in the cookie jar. They don't try to hijack another plane, right? Some of them, they tried to blow stuff up, but you don't, right? I mean, you assassinate JFK in 1963. I mean, might have been the CIA, but regardless,
yes,
the president, but they no longer go in an open top convertible. A lot of people don't know this. Right after the assassination, ARPA, the predecessor to DARPA, was actually secretly tasked with like protecting the president, and they're actually trying all sorts of neat stuff with LBJ. They would use like little fans behind the flag behind them to blow in, like to give off a false sense of wind for snipers, because you have to they would try things where they would put like little panels that produced like like heat distortions, like when you look on an asphalt, do that, so like where the president is, you might actually be off by an inch or two. All sorts of little stuff. They even had a plan to get these like thin metal strips like bulletproof strips of metal, like little bars,
Yeah.
almost like a like a cage, but not quite, like an inch between them, and then
Yeah.
spin it really fast, so fast that the human eye wouldn't see it. It would just see the president. But if someone tried to shoot a bullet, there'd be like a 99% chance it would get. The point is you never dip your hand in the cookie jar again. You don't try to shoot the president in a motorcade. It's been done. You don't try to hijack a plane with a box cutter. It's been done.
Yeah.
All these things you can't do again. To me, I'm very interested to see what is going to happen in the midterms and then the next presidential election, because I feel, and I could be wrong, and I fully admit I might be wrong. Maybe there wasn't any fraud. Maybe Trump just got his ass kicked. I'm not satisfied with the fact that I stayed up.
That if you'll hold
Yeah.
the rest of it. I live also in Nevada. Okay, I have my residence is there now. No taxes are in Nevada. State taxes are, and I have a timeshare place out there, kind of. And so I voted in Nevada, mail-in. They sent me a mail-in. I did not request it. But on there, I just sent my signature back. Why didn't I have to mail a copy of my Nevada license? You've got to be, I don't care what color you are, you've got to believe in election integrity. So I can tell you for real life what happened to me. They called me 3 times from Nevada and said, did you mean to vote for Biden? I said, no, I did not mean to vote for Biden. So I'm sure my vote was changed, but I can tell you that I sent it back and there was no voter identification needed. So I could have had Fuji send it back. And that would be, who I may not even live in this house anymore. Well, your name is on your name. And I do not believe everybody was mail order. They didn't check it to your signature on the voter ID document, your driver's license, because they would have had me mail it to them. So I can tell you what happened to me.
Yeah.
What does that sound?
Yeah. So that's
Nevada with question, as you remember.
Yeah. I moved out of Georgia in 2016 and I was in Maryland where I still am. Yeah, I was getting like mail requests saying like, would you like to request like a Georgia mail-in ballot? And I was like, I've been up here for 5 years. So, but the point is I'm very open to the fact that like I might just confirmation bias. Maybe I'm just seeing what I want to see. I know in 2008, I voted for Obama. In 2012, I voted for Romney. In 2016, I voted for Bernie in the primaries. In 2020, I voted for Trump. My mind changes with new information, with new life experiences. So I have been both Democrat and Republican 2 times each. So I'm not I'm not even pigeonholed into one mindset. And I know that it's very easy that when you start, as someone who's gone on both sides of the aisle 4 times now, you start to see what you want to see. I understand that's my own bias. I see what I want to see. So I also understand that I might just be seeing what I want to see. Maybe Trump just got his ass kicked. A lot of people hated Trump. I think probably more than ever in US history, people went out and voted not for one president, but against another, which I get it. It's fine. We're a democracy. You're allowed to do that.
I mean, do you really believe this man got more votes than Obama? Let's be real.
Well, again, even that, I would no, I don't. No, I don't believe that. But let's just play devil's advocate. Again, it might not be that he got more votes than Obama. It might be that so many people hated Trump, which I'm completely open to and I'm fine with. What I'm not okay with is what my eyes and ears told me, because I stayed up on election night, literally playing video games and had my laptop next to me. I have screenshots still on my phone as I was screenshotting the electoral college maps up until 4 a.m. when all the five swing states where Trump was leading all froze. I remember Steven Crowder was doing it live and they had just finished up like an 8-hour live stream and they're sending people home. They're like, this is kind of weird, but I mean, I guess there's probably weird COVID protocols, but they're like, well, it's very clear Trump won. And I watched that and I remember going to bed and I was like, something's not right. And I woke up the next morning at like 11, seeing that like the state started to switch. So again, I'm open to the fact that Trump got his ass kicked. And I'm even open to the fact that Biden got the most votes ever. I don't know this. I'm one person. I don't know what everyone's thinking. If it had just ended that night and Biden, I'd be like, well, fuck me. I guess I was wrong.
Yeah.
I saw it freeze and then get delayed over several days and have whistleblowers come out and sign affidavits. All of this being said, you can't put your hand in the cookie jar again.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going to happen with the 2022 midterms and the 2024 election. What they're going to try to steal, if my hypothesis is correct, they're going to try to steal it. But it seems that the COVID narrative is kind of falling apart. I don't see how they can pull the mail in again.
Well, that's why they were trying to push Omicron so heavy right now, right?
Yeah. It's the midterm variant.
Aliens. Well, we got a state of emergency in New York, and all this vaccine mandates. So all of that is, and Omicron is not going to allow it because it's not that kind of variant. I was reading a book that a friend of mine gave me about the 60 when Kennedy was elected.
Mm-hmm.
This is a true book. This is supposed to be true. I had heard that he really didn't beat Nixon, right? I think it was Nixon he ran.
A lot of people think that. Yeah, they think the mafia helped him out.
But yes, the book says, it says that they took into the sheriff's offices, because sheriffs control elections in cities, right? And they took $100,000 in a briefcase in Chicago in cash. And they said, have you heard this before? You're smiling. They said, after the election, we will get you another $100,000. They did the same thing in several southern cities, because southern cities did not want an Irish. I think they're, were they from Ireland? Well, anyway, Catholic. I don't know if it's Irish Catholic.
Yeah, Irish Catholic.
That's what I thought. Irish Catholic president, the first Catholic ever. And Biden, Lord, is a disgrace as the second Catholic president to the country. And so, and they took him down, Texas, all these states that he ended up winning. That was one reason he got Johnson, so he could get Texas, a big electoral college state. But I believe that really did happen and started, and you can't turn it back. It's still Democratic for the last 60, 70 years, Chicago, right? And Illinois. Is it really that liberal? I don't know. Why is New York so liberal? Now, I do, and I don't want to say, I'm not going to say anything bad about Dominion because they sue everybody that does. And Sidney Powell and Len, what's his name? Len Wood, whatever his name is, have made all these statements, and they've shut them down. They're suing them. They're doing everything they can. But I'll just leave with this statement. 28 states have Dominion, including the state of Louisiana. And we have committees that are talking to the Secretary of State about why did we get it just for the last election? It is so strange. The Republican guy, he's a billionaire who came from nothing, 8 children in a 2 or 3 room house, okay? And he is a billionaire now. Eddie Rispone, a really nice guy. He lost in the New Orleans parish, where parish is here, by 40,000 votes in the middle of the night after the election to John Bel Edwards. And what happened in Georgia? Like you said, if it ended in one night, California, 40 million people can tell me, okay, who won that night? They can tell me.
Yeah.
Florida, next biggest state. They can tell me that night who won. Texas can tell me who won. New York can tell me who won.
Why did Trump beat Hillary in that same night?
That's right. Why did it take so long? And you got that you can't add up, even if you had all these mail-in ballots. Why can't you add, and the mail-in should have been tallied as they came in through a computer program. And you know how many it was. So it's hard to believe. I even saw as you talk about all the affidavits, I saw they went to poor Rudy Giuliani and that other lady, Ellis, the lawyer, Jennifer, whatever her name was, Ellis. They went to these cities and they actually did court with some of these. I saw some of the court proceedings on Newsmax. They covered a lot of it. I saw one Black lady who, I think she was an independent, or I don't know if Republican, I don't think she was a Democrat, but she talked about in Detroit how the people had on Vote for Biden t-shirts, and a lot of Democrats in there working. They wouldn't let the people close, that are supposed to be the poll watchers. They wouldn't let them close. And how much can you really see from 4 feet? You can't see what's going on. You can change anything on a computer, and nobody really knows. And so I think we'll have to look at who has what. Again, over half this country has that voting system. Texas turned it down 15 times because they believe it has vulnerabilities that are not good for a fair and accurate election.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's just like little things where it's like, why would you kick out Republican poll watchers and start putting up poster board on the windows so no one can see what's happening?
Yeah,
I mean,
and Georgia, why were you pulling all these big portfolios under the desk? It just doesn't. I'm a math major, 2 plus 2 equals 4. You're an analytical guy. We're wrong, like you said, but something happened that it took weeks to tally up some small states.
Yeah.
Vegas is not, it was at 5 million people. It's about the size of Louisiana. I think it's not big.
Yeah. Like
It doesn't have everybody in the country voting by then.
I'm okay with being like, again, in 08, I voted for Obama and Obama won. Cool. 2012, I voted for Romney. Got his ass kicked. Sucks. 2016, I voted for Bernie in the primaries and they stole it from him. Sucked. Voted for Trump. And actually, I've got a bad rap now. Whoever I vote for loses. Again, I'm fine with it. You take it on the chin.
Don't vote for Trump anymore then.
But I'm okay with being wrong.
The greatest presidents as far as patriotic and loving this country and trying to fix a system that may be too far gone to really fix, because it's about the world. It is not about like Mitch McConnell. He's a crook, right? I mean,
Mitch McConnell's wife, Mitch McConnell's wife's father is the chairman of the board of the largest Chinese defense contractor.
And they make ships over there.
It's called the CCCC. It has 4 C's and I don't know the name of it, but it's the largest Chinese defense contractor. The chairman of the board's daughter married to Mitch McConnell, and she was the Secretary of Transport for a while.
That's right, and she was in Bush's. She had a cabinet position at Bush's. It's that good. I've never heard her have talk. I've never heard what she's done, but she's had 2 cabinet positions in the last 15 years.
It might be too far gone, but again, my logic is this: is if I'm wrong, prove me wrong and make a fool of me. Do a transparent election and show me, hey, Tommy, everyone hates Trump. Hey, I'll sit here and go, I guess I'm a moron. I'm fine with it.
He still got more votes than he did the first time, so everybody definitely does not hate what Donald Trump did, right?
But the point is it'd be one thing if I have only ever voted Republican, and if I'm sitting here screaming and I've got a whatever.
Before I voted for who was the president before Bush? Was that Clinton?
Clinton.
Yeah, I voted for him.
Yeah.
I voted for
Yeah. So like my point is, like, it's not even that I'm locked in with like one part. I don't care. What is not good and what should concern everyone is what's going on right now. I mean, even censorship. You know, what happened to I disagree with what you say, but I'll fight to the death for your right to say it. What happened to that? And
all the time, I don't agree with what you said, but I agree with what you have the right to say it.
But now it's and now it's you're getting censored, but I disagree with you. Okay, what's happening? And you know, if
called communism. That's what it is. It's going. It's not socialism. It's communism.
Yeah.
And Bernie, he vacationed, honeymooned 50 years ago in
the Soviet Union.
I mean, do you think this man has had any other thrust in his life? You can call it democratic socialism, but that is communism.
Yeah.
State-owned everything.
Yeah.
Pay the people more money. The owner of the business shouldn't make any money. Why not? They're the ones who took the risk. They're the ones who started the business. That's what capitalism is about, but that's what they're killing. They want to kill capitalism in this country.
Well, communism is always about destroying those who are capable. I mean, even Kent Clisby, former CIA officer, I've had him on this podcast. He wrote a book called Willing Accomplices. The Soviet Union would get their best KGB agents to come to the United States and sort of set up like cells of agents, and then they would recall the most successful agents. They would recall the guys who went out and set it up. They'd bring them back to the Soviet Union for a meeting, and they would shoot them all in the back of the head. You might be wondering, why the hell would they do that? Because if you take a guy and you send him over to America and he successfully sets up a foreign cell of agents in a hostile nation, that guy is very competent. And you know what else that competent means? He can replace you. So you pull him back and you shoot it. It'd be like if Joe Rogan had me on his podcast and then killed me because he thought I was going to be another big podcast. It'd be a compliment. But what you do is you bring in the next top dog. What?
Yeah. You'd be dead.
Yeah. But that's what they did with the KGB. They bring over the best ones and you kill them. You seize the guys who do the best because you want those who pose the greatest threat to you. They are competent. So you use them, you milk them for what they have. Can you build a company? Can you build a foreign cell? And then you kill them so they can't. So now you have the existing infrastructure, but you get rid of the threat. So that's exactly what they want here. They don't want people that work hard. They don't want people who can think for themselves. They don't want people who agree to disagree or question the narrative. They want to knock out everyone, fall in line, fall in lockstep and have a mass of stupid shits that they can just control and do whatever they want with.
And-
it's why you have no one's talking about. Oh yeah, this is what we never got to. No one's talking about scrapping the Nuremberg Code. But
right. Well, but you asked me about, the state sponsoring of making them vaccines. I did mention it's the same thing happening over here.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. But there's just so much that I feel everyone deep down knows that something is going on. But there's this sort of hesitancy of like
economics. He thinks I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
He's dean of college.
Yeah.
He doesn't know. Everyone does know. If you only watch CNN and MSNBC and you're a liberal, even though I wonder as Black people, usually, well, they're taking God. I don't know if you're a religious person, but God, this place was built on the son of Jacob, philosophy, right? The son of God and all of this. And if you take that away, that's another thing that we didn't get on this, but religion was taken away during the pandemic. That's why they were locking up ministers who were trying to social distance and still do what they do to still have their church, right? And still a lot of places, churches still don't open. And Black people have an issue because of the syphilis project in Tuskegee, Alabama. You're probably familiar.
Yeah. The Tuskegee experiments. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of Black men do have problems taking the vaccine. So, they're paying them, they're doing everything they can to get them to take money on a virus that only affects 90% of the people over 70 with comorbidities. Just logically think, why does this make sense?
Yeah. Well, not only that, I mean, it's also back to the racism thing with, Omicron, less virulent, less lethal, but we're not blocking it from Mexico, or India, but we're blocking it from South Africa. The other thing is the Black people have disproportionately, less of them have got the shot than anyone else, which means less of them can have the vaccine passport.
They say Republicans, but it's really Black and brown people.
So what this really is it's a way to keep Black and brown people out of your stores in New York and LA. You can't tell me that's not racism.
That's right. But they sit up and act like, every time they put the propaganda out, Republicans are not taking the virus. It is not the Republicans. It is Black and brown people in this country who are afraid because of what has happened to them on other projects too, in the army and prison, other more than the syphilis, injecting people with syphilis. Can you imagine? This sounds, that we talk about heartless people. People may not know, but Hitler did not believe in God. And a lot of this is a religious war, right? If you take God away from people, they have no morals, right? And fewer morals than today. Like people like Kamala Harris, or Kamala, whatever she wants to call herself today. They had the Guatemalan president on today, and John Roberts, I think, did an interview with him today about the root causes of the people coming from that part of the region of the world. Although it's almost 70 countries now that they're coming from to get into America. But let's talk, he said it's not a root cause, it is a structural cause. And he said he saw her one time. She never called after she left that publicity meeting over there in Guatemala. He's never talked to them again. So John Roberts said, well, when the Trump administration was in power, and because, we give those people a lot of money down there. Mm-hmm. But he was saying this is a $40 billion problem, because that is what drug traffickers and sex trafficking is making, $40 billion. And so you got to stop it where it is, which is a drug and sex problem for people who want to come over here. It's about money, because our borders are open and fentanyl is 1,000 times more deadly. That's why we could leave Afghanistan. Afghanistan had the largest poppy the world. And we know poppy is where morphine and heroin and everything comes from. And so that's why Russia and America had the war or fight about that before, but we don't care about that anymore. And guess who makes fentanyl? It's China. It's a synthetic that is coming through our borders at 1,000 times more than it was the last 2 years and killing more of our people. Bill Gates believes, and I was going to tell you this about Dr. Strand, the commissioner of agriculture and stuff. We talked about it, in 20 years, they expect over 9 billion people on the planet. It's about 7.3 billion today. And he says that the world can't take it. And so this is a method maybe to get rid of people, because 85% of the money spent for Medicare is for people over 65 and 70 years old. Oh, and COVID affects people over 65, 70 years old. So, and more than one time. So, it may be when you do something about everything, Tommy, you learn a lot about it.
Yeah.
So, part of the issue. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I've often thought about that. Get rid of, Henry Kissinger said, we have hundreds of millions of what was it? Useless eaters. That's what he would call. That's what. No, that's what he said back in the 70s. I think about the Indo-Chinese. He called them useless eaters, which is the most psychopathic way you could ever categorize a human. A useless eater. Demonic.
So they exterminate some people too.
Yeah. So it's I don't, I've toyed with this of, could COVID be some sort of depopulation thing? Like, no, I don't think so, because I think if you really wanted to depopulate, you'd release Ebola. Like you could dial it up to 11. You could do it. So it seems like a shitty virus to use to depop. But I've started thinking, what if the long-term thing is that it makes people infertile? That, or the vaccine, what if it makes people infertile? It seems like,
why do we want to give it to 5 and 11 to 11-year-olds and even younger now? So remember, it only started off as an old folks disease, old sick people, right? The alpha variant. So, okay, maybe we change it a little bit and we make it for younger people, the Delta. And if we believe that it was invented in a lab, now, okay, the next question is, did it escape or was it sent? So if you believe it was,
I think it was released.
Okay, then it's released for a reason. Now, it wasn't just to kill people. It's all to control people. You've heard one world order. George Bush talked about one world order. Clinton talked about one world order. Obama talked about one world order. And that's for all of us to be the same. And that would be an economy where people work for slave labor. And they're slaves like China has in the Uyghurs and the Muslims in China. But we still participate in the Olympics.
Yeah, George H.W. Bush gave his New World Order speech on September 11th, 1991. A little weird. But even with that, no, so I look at it as, if it was released intentionally, I think there's actually some smartness in not making it super lethal. Because if it was super lethal, and we found out China released it, America's nuking them in 24 hours. So you can't. No, but under Trump, what I mean is, when it first broke out, if we realized it was an act of war, you're hammering them. Game over.
But remember, they wouldn't let us come. Ebola let Obama. We sent people in. I did shows on Ebola, Zika, infection, everything, and they let us come in and see how we could help them. And they did shut down their borders inside the I think it was Western Africa. But okay, they wouldn't let us in to help them.
Again. If it was Ebola and they weren't letting us in, I would see that as an act of war. They're not even letting us in. But when it's something like a cough, it kind of takes the pressure off to, we got to get it now. It's when the World Trade Center is on fire, you have every fire truck within a 20-mile radius coming in. If there's a fire in a shed in a backyard somewhere, I'll get it with the garden hose. You're not a priority. So what I mean is, it's smart in that let's just play with it. Let's just toy with this. And as I've said, I might be wrong. I don't know. Probably am. But let's say it was a weapon. What would it be used for? Well, at the time, Trump was kicking the shit out of China with the tariff war, right? The Uyghur Muslims, the Hong Kong protests, the center of the news. What if you wanted to release something that would slow down the supply chain?
A lot of people loved him here too.
Yeah. So what I mean is, if you release something that maybe slowed down the supply chain, maybe put a squeeze on the American economy, which was growing under Trump, maybe get those protesters out of the street in Hong Kong.
Right.
I think that's what it was. It was a very soft. It wasn't meant to be an overwhelming weapon. It was And so I think that's what it could be. But regardless of any of this, what?
It was meant to get Trump out, and on the way, you disintegrate or kill a lot of people. Obama also made a statement. He didn't know he was on a live mic, either when he was campaigning or president, and I think I mentioned it earlier, so many of our people over 65 and 70, we spend 80% of the Medicare money on, and they're never.
Yeah. And those are people who are not working in the economy, and they're not, the useless eaters.
They work all their life, and now it's time reap their benefits of it, but nobody cares about that.
Well, like a good communist, you've worked all your life and now you're not needed. Get rid of the cog.
That's right.
But Let's go with Occam's razors. Let's say it really was a virus. Let's say it really did jump out of a bat, even though the zoonotic leap seems a little far fetched. Let's just say it is all true. Let's say Diane and I are wrong, and it's all right. Well, let's look at what's happening right now. Regardless if JFK was killed by Lee Harvey or killed by the CIA, what did happen was you got LBJ who beat the war drums when we went to Vietnam. Regardless if 9/11 was an inside job or if it was 19 guys with hijackers, what was the end goal? Was the vice president pushed for a war in which the corporation in which he was the former CEO, Halliburton, made $40 billion in war construct profits.
Consultant
at
the time.
Yeah, and we went into Iraq, and 95% of the world's heroin was coming from there, and we got the world. All right, regardless of what the action is, right? Mm-hmm. And it is important to find out if it was intentional or an accident, terrorist attack, or an inside job. I'm not saying it's not important, but in this sense, it isn't important, and that you just have to look at, well, what happened after that? So what I'm looking at, what's happening now, is we're having corporations, big pharma, those saints, we're having them make record profits, right? I mean, that's the simplest Occam's razor. It's money's the root of all evil. Follow the money. The next thing is we're seeing crackdowns on, just like after 9/11 and the Patriot Act, you're finding people who are now open to the idea of limiting our civil liberties and allowing the government to get stronger, wiretapping TSAs, Patriot Act, all the NSA surveillance, X key score, Echelon, Stellar Winds, all those programs. So what it really is regardless of if it came from a bat or if it came from Xi Jinping, what it is leading us to is the slow moving of the Overton window to now say censorship is okay. We can limit your moving based on whether or not you have this app or you have this shot. You can't participate in society unless you have shown that you're submissive, and you will get your quarterly or yearly shot whenever we want, which, by the way, if you don't think that's going to be eventually abused, start putting something in those required, because once we've done this for a year, 2 years, 10 years, and it's now the social norm that you have to have your updated booster, your 87th booster, to just participate in society. Just like we all understand, you got to have your license to drive, right? You do have to have it. Eventually, if we allow this to keep going, it's going to become the norm that you have to have an updated card. You're telling me that nowhere there isn't going to be some human, some dictator that comes into power and goes, why don't we start putting something in there that lowers the testosterone in men so I don't have to worry about a lethal fighting force?
8 billion people. We got to do something here, right?
Yeah, or we put something in there that maybe I don't know, maybe it snips your telomeres when you hit 60 and you die.
Yeah.
If you've already laid out the groundwork that you have to have a shot to participate in society, well, now you have the infrastructure to go, well, what's in that shot? Right. Is it a booster?
Yeah.
Is it something else? Or let's not even say that. Let's say they're all benevolent dictators. You're telling me that it is insusceptible to a terrorist attack of someone putting in a lethal strain into that next batch of shots? You're laying the infrastructure for something that is turnkey. If it's this lethal thing, who's to say the next 95th booster isn't full of fentanyl? Time delayed fentanyl, so that 6 months later we all drop dead. So,
that's right.
And it sounds like tinfoil hat shit, but the reality is this is at its most core thing. There are dictators. There are people who love power, people who call humans useless eaters. What we're doing is we're building this network, this wet dream of being able to lock down people, direct their movements. And we've shifted the Overton window to where now we're okay with censorship. 3 years ago, it's just Alex Jones. And now it's remove Dr. Peter McCullough because he's talking about buying generic vitamins from Walmart.
The most brilliant man in the country.
That's what I mean. And that's just a couple years that we have moved that window. Alex Jones, to the most published cardiologist in world history, telling people that you don't have to be a slave to Big Pharma. You can go spend $7 a month on 4 vitamins from Walmart.
That's right. And if you get a clover antibody, go to one of the infusion centers.
So that's happening. How much longer until we remove anyone? Because do you know he voted for Trump 34 years ago, back in the 2020 election? He voted for Trump.
Who?
No, what I'm saying is we're moving the window of acceptable censorship. So maybe the year's 2030. And how come Tommy Carrigan's podcast was banned from the internet, not just YouTube, but everything? Well, documents came out that said he voted for Trump. Oh, and contact tracing. Dianne Andrews did a podcast with Tommy. Ooh, she might have been exposed to some radical thoughts.
Right.
They're going to start shifting it from just COVID to actual ideology.
Don't you think that's the plan?
It's 100% the plan. And if it's not, I just gave him the idea. So like,
Yeah, really.
so
But
yeah,
already.
yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of running in circles now. I can go for like another like 15 minutes or so. I have another guest at 6 p.m. What have we not touched on?
What time?
Oh, it's 5:30 my time.
Okay, it's 4:30 my time.
Okay,
So
so
we've
I can
got
go.
about an hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, I can go for like another 15 minutes. What have we not touched on, or what do you want to? And we'll do another episode, so we don't have to cram it all in right now. But what
Yeah.
haven't we touched on?
Well, by that time, I would have read more of the real Anthony Fauci when we do the next one. And I'll get you on if you want to. I'm going to start doing some Zoom shows.
I'd
In
love
fact,
to
I'm
come on.
ready to do a panel, and you'd be great for this. And maybe I can Zoom you in on, what's about a 6, 7 people panel on what's really going on in the country. Think everything we touched on today, the border. The one thing we didn't touch on is the infanticide, and I wanted to just throw that out here. Black
Sure.
people and brown people the brown people are usually Catholic, and most of them don't believe in killing baby in the last trimester, right? And I wanted people to understand the Roe v. Wade. It doesn't mean you can't get an abortion if they do get rid of it, the Supreme Court. What it means, it goes back to your state, and your state decides, okay, we're going to limit it to 15 weeks, and you can't get it after 15, or are we going to limit it to 10 weeks, or are we going to say it's 25? California, you don't have to worry. You'll still be the last trimester. They'll tell you can have an abortion the 9th day, the day before the baby is delivered. You can still have an abortion. That's what some states are doing now: California, New York, Virginia. So I did want to just touch on that so people understand what Roe v. Wade really means. It doesn't mean that you cannot have an abortion again if they get rid of it, the Supreme Court. What it means is it goes back down to the state to make the decision, because Mississippi is up at the Supreme Court now. Somebody has challenged the Mississippi 15-week abortion rule, which they say is a heartbeat. That's what they're saying. Heartbeat is 15 weeks. So I did just want to throw that out there because I 3 or 4 years ago about Roe v. Wade. So. Is that a cricket?
It's a fire alarm. I don't know if it's mine.
Oh my God. Hurry up, Tommy. Get out. Oh, wow. Oh my God. Let's hope he doesn't have a fire. Well, as I was saying, I'll just continue. I know that's what he want me to do. Yeah, Roe v. Wade. Just look it up. And so if the Supreme Court, if you live in California, pro-abortions, if you live in a state other than, 15 weeks is almost, because you start at 0 to 1, that's really 4 months. And most people, I heard the defense attorney who's challenging this said that a lot of women can't get the money, don't know that they're pregnant after 4 weeks, things like that. But I don't know, 4 months. 4 months. I'm sorry. 4 months is a pretty long time. Because you could feel the baby moving usually, and there's definitely a heartbeat. Some people, even doctors, have said it's shorter than the 15 weeks that you can hear a heartbeat. That there is one before that. Some scientists say. Oh,
all my neighbors are going outside. No one knows what's happening. I think someone's going to call the fire department. So,
oh my God,
Diane, we got to wrap this one up.
While you were gone, but thanks so much, Tommy. And
I'm good.
Back. Yeah, get the bags. You can't see anything in your place, all right? Nothing seems out of whack.
No, everyone's yeah. I'm guessing someone's cooking a pizza or some shit, but
is it a condo building or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe.
So
okay,
we gotta wrap this one up. Stay safe, everybody. God bless America. Diane, we'll do a part 2.
Because I'll put this on my Rumble.
Yeah.
I'll get with you on how I can do it. I'll talk to you. Get out of there. Thanks, Tommy.
All right, Diane. Take care. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.